All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive. And today, we're going to be doing something a little bit different.
Yeah.
Something I'm personally very excited about.
Yeah.
We're going to be taking a look at One Piece, but from a very unique angle.
That's right.
We're not going to be looking at, the fights or the world building or any of the kind of typical stuff that we cover on this show.
Right.
Instead, we're going to be taking a look at fan letters written to Eiichiro Oda. And there's been some really interesting academic analysis of these fan letters.
There has.
And so that's kind of what we're going to be using as the jumping off point for this discussion today.
Yeah, absolutely. And it's interesting because, I'm a scholar of media, and you don't typically think of fan letters as, as a serious source of study. But these are really fascinating because they get to that emotional core of why people love One Piece so much and how it connects with them in a really deep way.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really stuck out to me in reading this analysis is how a lot of people love One Piece. I mean, obviously, it's
the best-selling manga of all time.
Hugely popular.
Yeah.
But the analysis kind of shows just how deep that connection goes.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's something that's worth exploring a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. And then it goes, there's different levels to it, right? There's just sort of the enjoyment of a good story.
Yeah.
But then there's also, the kind of deeper connections that people are forming, through shared experience with these characters and with this world.
Yeah, it's not just escapism. I mean, I think there's an element of that, of course, but there's also something a little bit more there. And I think that,
a lot more.
Yeah, a lot more there. And that's what these letters really kind of highlight.
Absolutely. And I think a lot of it has to do with the depth of the characters and how well developed they are. Oda spends a lot of time really fleshing out his characters and giving them, complex backstories and motivations.
Yeah, I mean, like even some of the villains,
oh, absolutely,
are given like
really nuance,
and you understand where they're coming from, even if you don't agree with their actions.
Exactly.
And I think that really helps people to connect with the story on a deeper level because they're not just seeing like these two-dimensional, good guys and bad guys.
They feel real.
They feel real.
Yeah.
And I think that's something that's really powerful.
Yeah. And it allows you to kind of see yourself in those characters, too.
Absolutely.
You can find aspects of yourself in even the characters who are, making bad decisions or who are struggling with things, because we all struggle with things.
And, speaking of struggling, one of the things that I found really interesting in the analysis was how a lot of fans wrote about how specific character arcs really resonated with them. And, the analysis kind of highlighted how, like somebody would go through a difficult time in their life.
Right.
And they would see a character going through something similar in One Piece. And that would help them to kind of process their own emotions.
Exactly.
And I think that's really powerful.
It is. And the idea of like the character arc is so important to storytelling in general.
Right.
It's about how a character changes and grows over the course of the story.
Yeah.
And, One Piece is full of these incredible character arcs.
It is.
And I think that's a big part of why people connect with it so much.
Do you have like a favorite character arc or one that you find particularly impactful?
Oh, gosh. They're all so good.
I know, right?
It's hard to pick just one.
You can't.
I think Nami's arc is really powerful.
Yeah.
Her backstory and how she overcomes her trauma.
Yeah.
And I think Zoro's arc is also really interesting just in terms of his, his dedication and his loyalty.
Yeah, his commitment to his goals.
Exactly.
And then, of course, you've got Luffy's arc, which is, kind of the overarching arc of the whole story.
Right.
And I think that's something that really speaks to people because it's about this idea of never giving up on your dreams.
Yeah, it's about perseverance.
Yeah.
And about the power of friendship.
Yeah, and that's something that I think resonates with people of all ages.
Absolutely.
Whether you're a kid just starting out in life or you're an adult who's, been through a lot.
Yeah, everyone needs a little bit of inspiration sometimes.
Yeah, and I think that One Piece really provides that.
It does.
So yeah, I think that's a big part of why people love it so much.
Yeah, and it's not just the serious stuff either.
Right.
One Piece is also hilarious. Oda has this amazing ability to balance these really heartfelt moments with these really funny moments.
And he never lets it get, too bogged down.
Exactly.
In seriousness.
Yeah, it's always fun.
Yeah, there's always that element of like, whimsy and just kind of like silliness.
Yeah, and I think that's important too.
Yeah.
Because life is like that.
It is.
It's not all serious all the time.
You need a balance.
Yeah.
And you need to be able to laugh at yourself.
Absolutely.
Now, I don't want to give too much away because we want people to be able to experience One Piece for themselves.
Right.
But yeah, I mean, that's definitely something that comes through in the fan letters as well.
Yeah, people talk about how much they laugh when they read One Piece or watch the anime.
Absolutely. And, speaking of the fan letters, I think it's worth pointing out that the analysis that we're looking at, the letters, came from all over the world.
Yes.
So it's not just like, a Japanese phenomenon or an American phenomenon or anything like that.
It's a global phenomenon.
It's global.
Yeah.
And I think that speaks to the power of the story to transcend cultural boundaries.
Yeah. I think it speaks to the universality of the themes. These are things that everyone can relate to, no matter where they come from.
So obviously there are a lot of great things about One Piece. But for you, what is one of the most important takeaways that you get from these fan letters?
I think it's just the affirmation that stories matter.
Yeah.
And that they can have a real impact on people's lives.
Yeah.
These letters show how One Piece has helped people through tough times.
Yeah.
It's inspired them to chase their dreams. It's given them a sense of community.
Right. And it's just a reminder that, even though it's fiction,
right,
it can still be very real to the people who experience it.
Absolutely.
And I think that's something that's worth celebrating.
Absolutely.
So as we kind of wrap things up here today, I want to leave our listeners with a little something to think about.
Right.
If you could write a letter to Eiichiro Oda, what would you say to him? What would you thank him for? What impact has One Piece had on your life?
It's a good question.
Yeah, it is a good question. So that's all the time that we have for today. I hope you enjoyed this little deep dive into the world of One Piece fandom.
Yeah.
And we will see you next time.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.
And if you're interested in diving deeper into the world of One Piece, be sure to check out I Love One Piece or ILOP on YouTube. All right, please like, comment, and subscribe.